right, we back, and we just saw Barbie. Thoughts?
Barbie and Ken are having the time of their lives in the colorful and seemingly perfect world of Barbie Land. However, when they get a chance to go to the real world, they soon discover the joys and perils of living among humans. This is the next film by Greta Gerwig, who did Lady Bird and Little Women, which I didn't see.
I didn't see that either. I hadn't heard of it.
I had tempered my expectations before this, and I will say I was pleasantly surprised at how enjoyable it was, how funny it was, how it was just a good time. I really was feeling that Ken storyline.
Ken is me.
Kendom. I like the different Kens, like trying to one up each other and fight for Barbie. It wasn't that serious of a story. Like, it was pretty light. I guess they tried to go into some deeper stuff, but
they did. I think they did go into some deeper stuff for sure.
I'm not sure if it landed at the very end for me, but because they were trying to please like everybody, and I don't think they did a good job. Like, I don't think it coalesced necessarily in like the ideal way at the end, but we can talk about that later.
I think it did.
But production design amazing
for the audience.
Acting amazing. They gave short shrift to a lot of the other Barbies, I thought.
A what? You said a what?
A lot of the other Barbies.
Oh, like the throwback Barbies?
Yeah. But overall, I was pretty impressed. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, it was good. Alright, so I thought Barbie was a solid movie. I agree on the ending, but I think it hit for the audience. It was very self-referential and stuff, kind of meta. I liked that it was Barbie in the real world. They tried to do like a whole, like, honestly, it was like a history of men and women's relations all in like a quick little hour. And like psychology, it was actually a lot. The movie was a lot. It was trying to tap on a lot of themes. It was trying to show like how men view themselves and their emotions, how women view themselves and their emotions, and it was just a lot. I like that the characters were not just Barbie, and they had that other family in it who was like I guess they were kind of the main characters as well, but not so much. It was still like about Barbie, but I thought it was cool that they included them to be like your like every woman.
Just being humans and having emotions and taking their feelings out on Barbie by, doing crazy stuff with it.
I also like the reveal that it was mom and not actually the daughter.
Keep walking.
Man, then I gotta walk back.
I did my best thinking when I went. Wait, no, let's go to my car.
Well, that's funny. Anyway, they were cool. I liked that they had the daughter, had the mom. We thought it was about the daughter. It turned out to be about the mom, but it was actually about their relationship as a pair.
I mean, I kind of saw that from a mile away. But.
Yeah, for sure. But it was cool how they tried to do the reveal or whatever by playing the memories back and everything. And I appreciated the storytelling of it.
That happened like halfway through. It wasn't like a major plot twist or anything like that, in my opinion.
Well, it was like a B story, because the movie was about Barbie and Ken for sure.
Yeah, it was about Barbie being more than, discovering more about her, and also Ken discovering more about himself and being discovering his independence too. I thought it would lean more on Barbie, but they actually did a lot with Ken.
They did way more with Ken than I thought.
I was very.
I liked it though, but I didn't I did like the portrayal of men in the film, but it was kind of like a shot.
I don't know. No, it surprised me. Like, they gave a lot of
like depth
a
to
lot
Ken's character and to the brainwash to me, like of what males go through, kind of.
Yeah. But they told that perspective. Like, Ken is created only for Barbie, and that's Ken's main motive at the beginning, and you understand why he wants to, reverse the role. And I get that it's like a, it's a reverse. I'm like trying to like say something about the real world and shit, but
yeah, for sure. And not at the same time, because that is kind of the relationship I feel like men have with women a lot of times. They know a lot of stuff. Yeah, Kens.
Yeah. No, I felt that for sure.
I'm not saying that's even like a man's whole world, but for a lot of people, it is. You know what I mean?
It is.
It is.
It's got some real truth to it. It's like you got to define yourself before you
That was heavy things.
Do stuff for a woman.
I was feeling it. I was feeling like, damn, Ken is me? Like, it was
it's
deep.
really a self-discovery. Like that's the storyline that hit most.
Yeah, it was deep.
The whole brainwashing thing, like the Mattel stuff.
Oh yeah, that was funny though. It was funny, but it was the story of Barbie and Ken coming into themselves.
Like, she literally had a monologue of, women's empowerment, and that was fine, but to me that didn't hit as much.
America Ferrera.
Yeah.
I love how they said "Si se puede"
like
at the end. I don't know if you caught that from that movie, that old Disney movie, like with America Ferrera.
Oh no, I didn't catch that.
I can't remember the name of it. Somebody put that in the comments. I don't know. Yes, we can. Si se puede. Yes, we can, or something like that.
Because that's all her husband was saying. It was like he was trying to like
learn Spanish. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, it was I don't know. The meta stuff was interesting. I was trying to follow like the actual reality of the situation, like what was going on. Like obviously it's like hyper reality, but it's also hyper reality in the real world as well. So like it was very hard to differentiate like
the two worlds. But it was like the reverse. I feel like that was a good way to put it when they said it was the real world was like the patriarchy and the Barbie world was like the matriarchy.
Yeah. No, I'm just talking about like, and from the perspective of like physics and motivation.
Oh, you don't think too much about it. That was the answer. Don't think too much about it.
Doing all this goofy shit and like even dancing in the real world.
Okay, well, I think that was because they were trying to make a point about the executives too as people and some of the weirdness that goes on up there.
So it's like you can't.
Like they are almost living in Barbie land in their heads.
Yeah, I guess, but. Because they say like Barbie Land is an actual place that you go to. It's not like a different dimension thing. It's a physical place where the physics just changes.
But it was like a different dimension.
Not really.
I mean, I feel you, but it was a different world.
It's like Westworld, I guess.
Sure, well, I'll give you that. But I mean, the way you travel there is just a trippy thing, though. Like that dream sequence you go through was like interdimensional to a certain extent.
But it is. There's a sign to it, and you drive to it. Like, but yeah, like.
No, there's only a sign on that way. It was just trippy.
I don't know. That's like I like the aesthetic of it.
The gate's right up the street.
Yeah, I like the aesthetic of it, but I don't know. Just the don't try to make any sense of it, otherwise you're gonna be frustrated.
It's not for that. It was just for the ride. I mean, even all the physics you were talking about of Barbie world, where she just floats down.
Well, I love that. No,
it's like
I love
person
that.
playing with a toy.
That. Like everything is like she stands on her tiptoes all the time, and shit goes directly from the toaster to her plate, and like they show it at first where it's all perfect, and then shit kind of goes haywire. And those like elements, like, it really accentuates all those elements when stuff goes weird.
When it's going wrong in that second sequence. It is, I don't know.
But even the set design, like I said, like all the open houses, like the beach stuff, and like visually, I thought it was pretty
pink.
on point.
Pretty pink.
Yeah. But then when the Kens took over, like all the blue, and
I thought that was
horses.
Cool. That element really hit for me. When it was like, because I didn't expect that. That was the truth. Is I didn't see Ken having a storyline like that. So when he did go back to the real world and like brought the patriarchy, it was a whole different avenue that I was like, holy crap, like this movie is getting fun.
I know. He was great.
And
Ryan
then the
Gosling
war
killed
between
it.
the kids.
But I like why
So
why
much
were they warning
commentary.
against like that? Like if Ken is he's kind of a goofball, kind of like yeah.
He was
I
your
guess.
jock guy, you know.
Yeah.
He was that guy.
Yeah.
He was wearing cowboy fits. He was, he wanted the war. We're fighting against even though the commentary fighting
but
against
it's
kins.
not like he wasn't doing anything smart or intelligent or.
But that was the point, bro. He's still kin, and he just was bringing that stupid concept of patriarchy. That was like the joke there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Kins versus kins in like an all-out war to just defeat themselves.
But he had like real desires and emotions to break out of that. So why they couldn't have added
because
more
he didn't see himself other than Ken and Barbie. All of that was because he loved Barbie.
Yeah.
And he didn't understand that there was more to it than that. Everything was just because of Barbie.
Because of Barbie, yeah.
Which is, that's how the real world almost is. Everything is because of Barbie.
But no, there was obviously an element that was deeper than that because he saw what the real world was like, and he liked the feeling of that, and he wanted to embody that.
He wanted to be important.
He wanted to not be,
just
the second piece.
You don't want to be just Ken anymore.
He
didn't want to be and Ken, not
and Ken, yeah.
No, it was deep, and I even thought the thing about Ken was he was going through that, and I think it really did mirror when you're young and you start to see all these things. They were almost like children growing up, and it was like when you're young and you see all these things and you think that's what's cool.
Barbie's a bimbo too. Like she's an airhead.
Dang, we don't use that kind of language on hindsight. Okay.
They literally use it in the movie.
Hey, we're not Mattel.
They even use it in that song, that Aqua song.
That was years ago. He's 23 now.
Yeah, I mean, Nicki Minaj sampled it, so.
We love women.
So they used it in the movie.
Hey, so it's for the movie. Anyway.
And Aqua is led by a woman, I believe. Anyways. But yeah, no, that's what it is. Like Mattel made this doll as I mean that was a little confusing. That was a little unclear too because you had the creator of Barbie that was in the Mattel headquarters.
Dude, you're thinking too hard.
Well, what was her purpose?
She was a ghost.
She was no, but not physically, but why? What did she represent? It was. I was trying to click the pieces together.
Every woman, she represented the spirit of Mattel, the original spirit of Mattel.
She's like she created it. And yet she's trying to say that, she's the original Barbie. She represents this thing, but she's also a standard for women that's that's not realistic. And so what is that message trying to say?
That dude, you're overthinking it because it was a contradiction. It was just a lot of things were contradictory in the film. But
what was her purpose with
just to be the old woman who reminded you that Mattel was started by
that was my biggest criticism.
Barbie was created by an old lady.
That the conversation between them and this void at the end,
you're overthinking
what was the purpose of
it? It was to be a movie that was heartfelt for children and for women to be empowered. You're overthinking it. You're kidding right now, bro.
What was she trying to get across to Barbie?
That there's emotion and there's feeling, and that's what it is to be human. That's what the whole hold your hands and all that whole sequence that was definitely.
But she was created to be a certain physical
to
standard
give women hope, to give them hope.
Why
why
is it Margot Robbie?
They said that she was poorly casted in that meta moment. That was hilarious. Actually,
that was definitely a redone line.
Definitely not. They wrote that. Margot Robbie probably wrote that in there, doing it while she was helping them with the script. I know she was involved.
Well, she didn't say it, obviously. But
yeah, I know she was involved in that.
I almost thought of it, definitely nowhere near as good, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it's you're kind of she's a blank slate for women, and they sort of talk about the regular Barbie
you know, where
But it was a movie about Barbie, and
Michelle
that's just the rule.
Yeoh's character is like not
But this
good
is
at,
Barbie.
like,
And
I got those vibes.
Barbie
though.
is
Obviously
Barbie.
not to that extent, but
And she is your like the white girl
blank
that
slate.
everyone looks to. You know what I mean?
blank
She's
slate
that
Barbie.
generic Barbie. She is the idol though. Like she is that original idol that all the girls were like, oh, I want to be like. And even like girls of other nationalities looked at that white Barbie and were like, oh, I want to be like
Yeah.
that. Like,
but then at the end she's like, oh, I don't feel
which is
pretty,
fucked up.
you know. And then the creator of Barbie's like, no, it doesn't matter, like you're pretty just the way you are. But she literally made the original Barbie in that, so it's a contradiction. Like it's like,
You thinking too much
I
about
don't
it.
know.
Well, I told you it was just a bunch of contradictory stuff,
Yeah.
but the story was good. It hit the heartstrings. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Barbie a lot.
Yeah.
Ryan
No, I
Gosling
did.
got
I
his
did.
dance in there, got his sing on for no reason. Honestly, that was just like, okay, but it fit in the story
Dude.
and was funny.
That was actually really, I don't know, the scene where the Barbies manipulated the Ken. That's some real shit. So I'm glad a feminist movie. I don't even think it's a feminist movie.
It definitely was. It wasn't a feminist movie, but it had a lot of those undertones of like, you know.
No, I
but
actually I
liked it.
was expecting
It didn't
that,
bother
but
me.
it was. I don't think it was.
I don't think it was necessarily, but it had a lot of undertones of it. And I'm not mad at it. Like I thought it was done very tastefully. I thought everything was done tastefully. Nothing was like
what is feminist
nasty.
nowadays? Like
Except for the black Kens, I thought they got disrespected in the film. But other than that, I'm okay with that. I could do it.
Yeah. Because at the end he threw his coat over to this guy, and he's like, and he literally he still wanted Barbie at that point.
It still had some white savior vibes in my opinion, but it was okay.
And the kid called that out.
Yeah, she did, but it almost tried to make it like it was.
It was okay.
Yeah, and it is okay. Like, 'cause it's just a movie, and it's who cares. But
Um,
I feel like a lot of the things they were trying to preach against, they were literally performing. It was like the movie they were saying is bad. You know, I don't know how to describe it. It was.
That's it. Yeah. There's another contradiction there. So yeah.
But there was a bunch of
Yeah.
that. But that's life. You
And
know
also,
what I mean? That really is life.
yeah. Another contradiction
It was
too
awesome. It was a good movie.
is yeah, you have all these different types of Barbies, you know, different races, different you know, weird Barbie and pregnant Barbie and all that. Yet there were very minuscule roles. Like they didn't have a lot to do
With
besides
the story at all, but just be.
convince, like say a couple lines to try to convince the Kens that they were.
But really, what they could have done is had them use some of those abilities that they all had. You know, like some of them were physicists or were blah 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 whatever. They could have actually used that to solve the problem in some way, shape, or form. Then do the manipulation plan,
Yeah.
which was actually funny and it all worked out. And I was cool with that. But they definitely could have used those if they were all those things. Why not show that instead of just having them dressed all skimpy
yeah.
and just telling secrets and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I think
It was good, though.
all those Barbies are real. Were real Barbies, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like the TV in the back of that Barbie.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous. But I got it. If you wanted to be a filmmaker and you bought that Barbie to start, like, you know what I mean, getting into film, I bet they got a lot of girls to maybe even just think like, oh wow, this is fun. I was so with that. I got what they were trying to say, like, who would want that? Nobody. But I do think that's the kind of stuff that's creative and it's different, and that would get someone interested in something.
Yeah. They should have used her more though.
And I think that was the point of Barbie, though. You know what I mean? Like cooking Barbie and this Barbie, they just didn't explore maybe everything they could have. But they did. They got scientists. They got all kinds of.
Wasn't
shit.
that only later on?
Well,
after?
true. But I mean, things take time.
And I don't know. How did you feel the Mattel came across?
I thought it came across like they were just taking a shot, and that's just the common thing in
But
movies
that-
is you take a shot at the CEOs and all those
But
guys.
yeah, it was kind of interesting that Mattel like allowed this to.
No, it's
actually be a
not,
thing.
because they don't have a face. They're a company. So for them, that was just their representation is Will Ferrell being funny. And that's what
That's
we
a
think
bad
of
look.
as Mattel.
I guess.
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
We
don't know who the
already think
CEO is.
We already think of them as classic, you know, just white men run CEOs of a.
There was
of a-
commentary in that.
of a, you know, Yeah, just rich white people running the company. So.
Even like when Barbie runs out the door and they can't get out without the key card. Like, there was just a lot of commentary in everything. Like, they're the ones making the decisions, but they can't think about, like, you know what I mean? Even the little things.
Maybe.
I thought that was so well done.
Does Mattel even make new shit anymore?
Yeah, of course. They just made a movie, bro. They still making toys.
No, yeah, like toys. Are they still?
They just made a movie, bro. They're still selling toys. This was probably the greatest marketing campaign they've had in years.
Yeah,
because this is like a psychological shift on how people perceive Barbie as a thing. Right. And now when they even think of Barbie, they think of Margot Robbie. Like, this was ridiculous.
Open about it, and this movie is doing so well. Like, yeah, you're right.
But Margot Robbie is now Barbie. When you get a Barbie, you're thinking of Margot Robbie almost now too. There was a lot of association here. Like, it was well done. Issa Rae for all the black girls. Now you're getting an Issa Rae doll, kind of. You know what I mean? It was genius. A great rebrand for something that I feel like is not dying, but has definitely lost popularity.
Margot Robbie Barbies, like.
No, I think that was the link already. Is you've seen Margot Robbie as Barbie, but they probably will make Barbie movie Barbies. Like, I would to change. Dollars.
Yeah.
No, that was a great marketing strategy. I think everything that they did was hilarious. I laughed through the whole thing. I was even feeling some type of way. I was like getting a little emotional at times watching Ken's story. Like, damn, I've been there. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah,
it was a good movie.
Yeah. Like, you know, really Ken playing his heart out on guitar for all these Barbies, and then at the end they pull out their phone.
That was
like,
classic.
Bro, that hit me.
But honestly, dudes are that generic. Like, the guys are really that.
Dude.
Everything about it was like kind of spot on.
Hey, man.
As like it was basic psychology, and I think they covered it really well. And like social dynamics, they covered it really well.
On both sides.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Simplified, but like it still was getting the points across. There was enough characters for you to understand how society is impacted by all these thought processes.
And I mean, it is even like in terms of the patriarchal message. Even Will Ferrell at the end, he's like, I don't want to do all this work sometimes. I
just want to tickle.
I just want to
tickle party or something.
I just want to tickle party.
That was ridiculous.
I don't want all this responsibility, and
That's hilarious.
That's
probably
maybe a controversial
how a lot of CEOs feel.
Like, that seems kind of anti-feminist to me, but
yeah, that was great.
It's interesting. It had a lot of different perspectives in it that I could respect. It
well
wasn't
done.
just one perspective, like one agenda. It was.
You
could see from all sides.
They did a good job of illustrating on the sides, but it was definitely one agenda. Yeah. But it's tight though. I liked it. I liked the movie. Humor was on point. I can't remember, what did my guy say? He was like, two like random things or something, and he goes like, two trees like have a podcast, or what was the other thing? Like, oh man, it was so trippy. I was like, that was a very random thought for me to throw
like,
out.
What's the worst thing that can happen? No, it's worse than that. Yeah, two trees have a podcast. Yeah, I can't remember.
The other one was
so
crazy
ridiculous.
though. Yeah, that was interesting. Fun writing. There's a lot of fun writing in there.
Yeah.
Yep, I think.
Even the narrator like calling out, like being super meta about everything.
Oh, I forgot about the narrator at first.
I forget any specific lines.
Was that, who was the narrator? Was, what's her name? That one.
Sounded familiar.
I can't think of her name, but she was like she's in Fast and the Furious, that old lady. I think it was her.
Fast and the Furious.
You know the old white lady who be with Vin Diesel? She was
the mom of...
in Red. She's in, you seen her.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name. I thought it was
She
her.
was John Cena's mom, or what?
Yeah.
Speaking of John Cena.
I don't remember. Why, was he in the movie?
A lot of cameos, yeah. He was the merman.
Oh, I forgot he was the merman.
And what's her name? Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa.
Was the mermaid.
Came with that nice little American accent.
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah, she is.
If you want Margot Robbie's feet, you're gonna get a lot of that.
Oh, okay, Tarantino.
You know.
But you do get a lot of that.
Yeah, just the gags of no liquid being in the cups, like
Oh, that was good too.
yeah,
that
not
was
being able to
good, too.
eat.
That was
Girls'
actually one of my
night,
favorite
like them
ones.
not knowing what to do. Like,
Oh yeah, talk about that reversal too, where then Ken had it like it's boys' night. That was
Yeah.
great. That was great because that was so unexpected. They did a good job, man. They did such a
Yeah.
good job. Ken was a tormented soul.
Shout out to Simu Liu,
Yeah, he did good in there too.
rival Ken. I mean, Barbie was probably more into his character at first because he could do flips and shit.
I think Barbie wasn't into none of them.
Yeah,
couldn't
that's
tell
true.
him.
That's true.
I couldn't tell if Barbie was on the other side totally. I didn't know what was going on. But it didn't matter though. That was what was cool about the movies. It actually didn't matter. It was just like about Ken's feelings. That was what that whole arc was about. She didn't have to like. She didn't have to consent at all. And so those last couple of sequences where he's like still trying to go at first, it's so painful to watch.
She's like, no,
Yeah.
no, we're not going that
He's
far.
trying to do the dance and he's trying to do all of that. He was like, it looked like he was about to kill himself for a second.
Yeah, he was gonna like jump off, dude.
Oh,
I
man.
like how they had that perspective. Like, I'm very, very impressed with how they handled that character.
Yeah, I was loving Kid, man. I was loving Kid.
But yeah, all the side Kens and side Barbies, definitely not, you know.
They felt
Kinda
very
like-
side characterish, and I thought they were going to try and not make them like that. They were like, Issa Rae's the president and gave him titles and all that stuff, but they really didn't even have him featured in the movie doing anything of relevance, but it's okay. It was about Barbie and Ken. They are technically the lead of the franchise, so what can I say? Just give Issa Rae a spin-off movie. Give all like the black ones a spin-off movie. And all the other nationalities too, but black first.
Yeah, but they had to sell this one, so
Yep, and I'm here for it. They started the Barbie-verse.
Barbinverse.
I don't think there'll be more of these. But this was a good one. This was a good one. And especially good for the company. This is to me, this was a great even like marketing ploy that people who are making toys and stuff should even try, but just do it tastefully.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's a good jump off point for an IP that already exists.
Yeah, but do it
But it's like
tastefully.
it's weird. It's like it's definitely not a kids movie. I don't think there's some deep.
I thought it was kind of a
deep
kids movie
shit.
because it was hitting deep shit, but it wasn't hitting it the wrong way. I thought it was hitting it in like an educational way.
It's very weird. Like there's weird shit that happens throughout. And
It's not that weird though. They just dropped the F-bomb a few times, but really I didn't think anything was PG-13 about it. I love how she swears and Mattel pops over her mouth when she says it. But in the real world, Will Ferrell said it. You know what I mean? That was so funny. And
What did he say?
oh my God! And the Matrix references. Oh man, I was loving that. That was
What was the line?
the Matrix, where it was like the shoe or the Birkenstock,
Oh, yeah,
and then when she's like
Oh,
escaping
yeah.
the Matrix and she's running from like Will Ferrell, and it's like, you remember when Neo's like first getting out of everything and he's like in the
hallway.
office and he's
Oh.
like running from them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, vaguely. It's been a while.
It's like the beginning of the Matrix where Morpheus is on the phone telling him how to get out because the agents are inside the office building. Like, turn here, go left.
Who's telling Barbie where to go?
No, nobody was telling her, but she was like
just visually?
running, through the
Yeah,
office
yeah.
the same way Neo was, and that was great. That was great. Well, the agents try and catch her.
And they're like just running, like it's almost like Tom and Jerry style.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then they run past each other. That was great. It was great.
It was.
I liked
it was
how
a
they were like,
little wild.
yeah, it was slapstick humor almost in the real world with the CEOs. They almost like represented something different.
They didn't seem that threatening though. It didn't
They weren't, though.
it didn't make it seem super threatening.
They weren't.
Like,
There wasn't a villain like that, and I liked that. It was almost like the concepts were the villain.
Yeah.
And I like movies like that, where they're not necessarily saying this person is bad or that person is bad, but the situation is what's messed up.
Yeah. Like that stark contrast of her in the real world. Yeah, like that. They did a good job, I guess, POVing that in that first scene
What do you mean?
in Venice Beach when.
Oh, she
Barbie
gets
and
there
Ken.
and then it just does that immediate like,
Yeah.
hey babe, yeah,
But
what?
did
Look
they-
like
I
a
think they
slab of
did. They
meat.
did like a first-person shot, I believe. I think. Or,
They did that a couple times. Yeah,
Yeah.
they kept cutting to it, watching like the people look
Yeah.
at her.
Yeah. So.
I think they went overboard with that, and that's some of the stuff I mean about the matriarchy, like not matriarchy, but it being a little bit feminist when it was like overselling that. Where I get
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
everybody's not looking at a girl like, yeah, girl, woo, like, hey, haha, yeah, and then just goes up and slaps her in the ass. It was like, okay, they're like, it's definitely not 1950. You know what?
It
Probably
was,
like
it was.
2000s. Maybe in the
That's
2000s
what it
it
was,
was kind of
bro.
close to that because people were still
It was,
buttheads. But it was over the top. It was way over the top. That scene is what made me kind of feel like,
And,
okay.
And Ken's just like trying to get a job
he's
with everything. He's like, he's like, oh shit, I have the power here. I could just walk in and, without any experience. And
Which almost felt meta for the white male who like is honestly getting his power kind of taken from him in current
Yeah.
society. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, she even calls it out. It's like it's getting better or something, or like it's not as bad.
Who calls what out?
Didn't he was at the school talking to that random lady with the kid.
Oh yeah.
And didn't the kid say something about that? It's not.
I remember there's
not
the
that
guy
bad.
who said
Yeah.
like it's still a patriarchy. They just hide it better, and I'm like,
Oh,
God.
yeah.
The different opinions
That
of
too.
people.
That too. That's
That Ken stuff was funny.
just trying to be a lifeguard, but you know I can't
All
I
he
can't
knew how
actually
to
go
do
in the
was
water. I should be perfect for this, but I literally just stand here and look good.
He said I should be a 10. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Whatever. That song was hilarious. No, they did such a
Yeah.
good job with this,
Good
man.
musical numbers.
I was surprised. I was so surprised.
Yep.
They didn't have that many musical numbers.
Barbie hype is real. They had a couple with Ken.
But it was just Ken, yeah. Like I felt like Barbie never did any of that stuff. It was just
Yeah.
Ken.
Hey, you know,
But-
Ryan Gosling has to show his musical talents.
Yeah,
a
legit.
bit.
They also had I liked like the element of where the kids, it was like the kids' hands were never in there, and I like that they called it out. But a lot of the, like you said, like the physics the physics of the world where like a kid was playing with the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like Ken run into the wave and then he does all those
Yeah,
flips
yeah.
to fly away.
Or
like,
the car.
like that is
slipping.
that's just how kids are. Like
Yeah.
that was cool.
Oh,
how
we
they
had
did it.
we had Alan. He was kind of a nothing character, but he was kind of funny.
No, I liked Alan. He was like martial arts madness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He could, you know.
He
kick
was
some-
more
kick
than
some
Ken's
butt.
friend.
But he was also kind of like Beta. He was kind of like
Well, you
little bit
saw
more
he was
feminine.
just Ken's friend. That was
Ken's
just
friend, yeah. But he like he didn't want to be part of that Ken patriarchy. Like he wanted to be part of the Barbie, like the female led. Like he was definitely a
matriarchy.
feminist. Like,
Yeah, no, I like this character too. I love how he never got out though. I thought he was maybe gonna get out by the end, but he never got out of Barbie Land. And his fixation with horses was hilarious too.
Ken's.
Ken, yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, I took it as, and I was probably overthinking it, but I was just like having fun in my head. Like, you know, Ken as the like doll has like a horse, and what more would he know in the world? So when he sees a
That's
horse in the
true.
real world, it's
That's
like a
true.
major connection. Like, oh, this is the meaning of horse. You know, I thought a horse was like this, but a horse is God.
He's like, as soon as I realized horses weren't that big of a deal, like I didn't like it, I didn't actually care about the patriarchy. Like once the horse thing.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. That was great.
I mean, he
It was
he
so
did
well
a great
done.
job. Like he just showing emotion and all that.
Yep. Big shout outs to Ken. Big shout outs to Barbie. Big shout outs to everybody. It was a really good movie. Highly recommended. A-list gang.
Yeah. Still not a huge fan of the ending, but overall had a great time. And recommend.
Yeah, it wasn't for you though. The ending I feel like was like it was like women's empowerment. I'm not saying again that it was necessarily feminist, but it was.
No, I don't like. I'm not
think
saying
that's
that
what it was for.
I wouldn't like want that, but it just seemed like I was trying to find a connection there between the conversation with the creator of Barbie and Barbie, but I don't think it quite landed for me. And then Barbie's obviously in the real world at the end, and she goes in for a job.
No, she doesn't. She goes to the gynecologist. Which was hilarious.
Gynecologist, that's what it was. To get some.
Because she has a vagina now. No, she has one. Like, she became human.
Oh, I thought she was going to the gynecologist to get one.
No, because remember they said earlier she didn't have a vagina.
Yeah,
they hinted at it.
Yeah, so she was going to get a procedure.
No, the gynecologist checks your vagina. But
I mean, I'm sure they could also make. Oh man.
Anyway, she became human. She was getting her vagina checked. That was how it is.
I don't know. Who else can make a vagina?
The plastic surgeon doctor. But we're not gonna get into that.
Gynecologist has to
well,
be a part of that.
I'm sure women will disagree, and they should write in the comments and like this video. Smash the like button. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess question. Yeah. So, did she already have a vagina, or was she going to?
She
She
got one in the moment she became human, is what I'm saying. Like, that's what the kind of the joke was. Is she just went the thing like, what does it mean to be human? How do I can just be human? Blah blah blah. And then that whole sequence of her becoming human, and yeah, it was just magical.
Magically got one. I don't know.
Well, that was what the movie was. That was what that whole ending sequence was like almost the magic of being human, and like this is the beauty. And
so it's kind of like Pinocchio, or
it's kind of like Pinocchio, and that was almost grandmother's purpose, was to be a fairy godmother.
I could buy that. I could buy that take.
That was not my favorite ending for sure, but I thought for a woman and for girls who maybe grew up with a certain thing, and a lot of girls who were like the mom's age, that was the ending that they needed for mothers and daughters and everybody to kind of be happy on the same page. Like, that was smart. It still fed into the fairy tale, but I thought it was just hastily done. But they could have ended it some different ways. I liked it.
Just don't think about it too hard, because if you think about the repercussions of Barbie's actually having autonomy and like having actual free will and freedom, like what little girls are doing to Barbies, like that's like very troubling if you think about it too much.
And that's why we're thinking about it too much for you, so that you can just listen to this and smash that like button.
What's that? They're trying to anthropomorphize, I think is the correct term. Yeah, inanimate objects. And yeah, so she's transforming with, as the girl is kind of treating her in some way and drawing her. And
I didn't understand that part. This is an overthink right here, but
no, if you think about it in those terms.
But why was she, like, what caused the I don't know. That was weird to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you think about it in that way, it's
doesn't make no sense. But you don't have to overthink it.
But like, if you think of like how most people, or like a lot of people that I, in that generation, like when they were playing with Barbie, like you've seen Barbies like ripped up and fucking.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No arms and it didn't go there, but
at the end of the day, I felt like they did for the weird Barbie. Remember, weird Barbie was like that, but at the end of the day, like that is how it could have caused a rip. I thought she was gonna have a real problem, and like it was just a plot device for the mom and the daughter's animosity, because really they didn't have a problem and they were very similar to each other, and it kind of was just resolved like that. They just needed Barbie to be around almost, which was it was a little bit weird, but they were just they were a side thing. B-story.
No, I would have expected them to have more of an arc.
Exactly. When they were introduced, it seemed like, or her job would be connected, or she had some power, or she was the artist who drew Barbie, and her turmoil in her real life was affecting like the actual Barbie world, and they could have like cleaned that up a little bit. But again, I'm not mad at it. It was good. They did a good job. They did a good job.
The mom kept the original Barbie, and the daughter grew out of it, and really, I guess there was a little bit of a message there with the mom being like, I just want to have fun too. Like I have this kind of intense life.
Well, that was the other side of it, was like the mother-daughter thing, where an older generation saw the world like that, and this new generation of her daughter was like, well, I see Barbie like this. But that's why
I don't like that idea of Barbie.
And that just spoke to everybody who saw this movie, and now Barbie is cool again. That was almost like
so what reversal. Is the daughter? Is the daughter like, it's still run by a fucking corporation of males that, capitalistic.
But they're just goofballs, so you don't need to worry about them. They're just a bunch of Will Ferrells in an office, so you don't need to worry anything.
So is the daughter like, okay, like Barbies are cool now, or what?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess Will Ferrell's like
the point of it.
Oh, the guy in the bag's like, but it'll make money.
Yeah, Barbie's acceptable to all.
What about regular Barbie? And then Will Ferrell's like, nah, we're not gonna do that. And then the guy says, but it's gonna make a lot of money. And then he says, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna make a lot of money.
And I don't know, I didn't like that. It was such a.
That's the world though, bro. That was the world. When they were doing all those like side meta things, like I was okay with it because the world is like that. And maybe it's like, oh, you called it out, and that's being annoying or being mean, but it's real. Like, it's gonna make money. That's how they think about things. Oh, don't make normal Barbie. That sounds stupid. Like, why would we do anything?
It's kind of meta
because it'll make money. That's why they would do it.
Like, this movie is definitely a non-traditional Barbie movie, and it's making a million. Like, it's making fucking. I think it's 100 million.
Well, it deserves it all. Yeah. But it's like making BLM Barbie, you know what I mean? And everybody buying that, it's gonna make money. That's why you do those things.
But then why?
You have to stand with the cause.
Do you have to make this movie about Barbie for it to be successful? And that's the other thing. It's like,
you do, because Barbie is gonna be the one that draws in the most people. Because that is the ideal in a lot of people's minds, and that is what people like generationally grew up with, and they saw it on the TV. The marketing's been done. That's why it had to be about this Barbie. For them to take the money to invest in a film, it had to be about this Barbie. And you can expand it from there, but you had to start with this, like, no questions.
And it worked.
From a financial standpoint, you had to start with this.
Mattel benefits.
Yeah, be done with it. I think this was a good one and done. They changed the brand. Like, this was genius.
Yeah, they really,
because they can
really
Barbie
put it into
places.
A new life. A new light to Barbie. Like, who's thought about Barbie? Like, most of this, the generation that grew up with Barbie probably, it's not in the consciousness, and all of a sudden now it is.
And it's in the consciousness of kids.
The song, like, it's just relevant beyond the movie itself too.
Yeah, they did a good job. They did a great job, and the credits were fun.
Yeah, I did an Aqua concert happened a couple weeks ago. That they had me shoot, and I was like, and like line was out the door anyway.
That's ridiculous. That's just because, you know what? Shout outs to Aqua. They got bangers. I don't care, and I hope they play the Nicki Minaj song at their concert. But good movie. Rated.
What do I have to rate first?
I already know my rating, and I don't want to like change yours.
Do you? Do you always know your rating before?
For the most part, I think about it, and I kind of know it. In the conversation, I already know what I'm thinking.
It's always gonna be recorded in time, so I have to make sure I know it. I can never change it. I would say.
It's gonna sound boring,
but 8.5, but that's boring.
Oh, well, I was gonna give it the 9. I'd give Barbie the 9. That was a good movie.
8.5 is pretty good. 9 is like...
That was one of the best movies I've seen this summer.
How many 9s have you given to
Not that many. That was one of the best movies of the summer. Only thing that beat that out was Spider-Verse.
For sure. Yeah, I'll stick with 8.5.
Well, too bad we don't have a tiebreaker, but I'll probably give it a 9.
All right, 8.5. 8.55.
Legit. No, it was a good movie. I really did. I don't have that many bad things to say about it. Like, it really was a good movie. It was well thought out, and I like.
I wish
movies.
I remembered a lot of they had a lot of one-liners.
Yeah,
funny
it was
moments.
very well thought out. The movie was everything you could tell they put a little bit of thought into, and that's all I even asked for.
Well written.
That's all I asked for.
Well written.
Colorful.
Well
It was.
conceived.
The beats were moving quickly. They were never lingered on anything too long. I feel like the ending sequence was the one thing that lingered, and that was like the ending sequence. So it was almost okay.
Yeah, like
but
there was a lot of suspension of disbelief. Like, she literally Barbie meditated in order to see in her vision like who was playing with her. And I was like, all right, you couldn't think of, I don't know. It seemed like the easy way out to like have her just concentrate on who was the person that
plot
that
device.
was playing with her.
Yeah,
So,
plot device.
That kind of thing. But I don't know.
But it was just
And then
a
at the
goofy
end
movie.
too. At the end too, she had a little meditation in the void. Kind of reminded me of a certain project, but
Anyway. Yeah, no, that there had to be suspicion of disbelief, and for the most part, I didn't think about any of that stuff when I was watching the movie. It was like, okay, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? Like,
you
from the beginning.
like
When she floats out the house,
what,
you know.
what world we were living in.
Yeah,
like
she floats out, you get it.
yeah, they established what we were working with from the very beginning.
And that we weren't in the real world. Most of this story is not going to take place in the real world. You know what I mean?
But it
As we
did,
know
and it still was also.
But we got
which is a
there.
little bit-
You know what I mean? You get to the real world and the adventure. But it truly was, even for the viewer, not a psychological journey, but like a maturing journey. I'm sure there's a word. Maybe it was like a coming of age is the word. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it starts where you're in Barbie land, and it is almost like you're just a young kid, and all the rules are goofy, and there's nothing wrong in the world. And it's a perfect world that, like, you know, the old generation of children used to
I mean,
think.
it's a perfect world.
And then
from
it
one
gets
person's
more corrupt.
Perspective.
But you know, it gets more corrupt
Is it perfect
as
for
they
Ken?
learn.
No.
But it was.
One would argue that he
It
is the reason.
It was
that-
like Ken had his role. He just played his role in that world. He played his role in that world, and sure, he didn't get Barbie, but he never really took the time to know that there was just a Ken. So in that world, he had to just play his role.
There was always still conflict of him competing with other Kens. And
But it wasn't. They never really had conflict until they had conflict after the fact.
It was like he was always jealous.
But
And
he was
if
just
that's
jealous.
a perfect world, like, what are we saying? Like, if it's pretty
I
big
didn't
and,
say
like,
it was perfect. I said that's how children think of the world. And then as you get older, and
well,
the
from Barbie's
world
perspective,
changed.
obviously.
But
Think of
again,
the other people's perspectives.
but that's being a kid. And I think kids do go through those kind of things. But they don't say anything. They can't even understand
What
their
are
feelings.
boys' thoughts about Kens? Like, I know a lot of. I mean, even as a kid, like,
I think we're
I had
getting
a
away
lot
from
of,
the point, but it's okay.
like, yeah, like I was in, daycare and shit, and I played with Barbies and Kens for a time, like with girls, and like, what do guys think about? What do little boys think about Ken? Like, is that even that's kind of fucked up. Like, it's not a great role model to have if you're surrounded by that Barbie, surrounded by Barbie, that Barbie brand, I guess. But of course, like, yeah, there's like toys for traditional toys for boys, but what does Ken represent? It's a toy. Anyway.
Barbie sidekick. Yeah, you went too deep into it. It's Barbie sidekick. That is what he represents. Anyway, it was a transition from being a kid to being an adult. And that's just how you see the world. And I feel like Barbie and Ken went through the transition of how you see the world.
But yeah, but I did appreciate, because I didn't know they would get in, but they really took the time to actually dive into Ken's perspective, which maybe if it was another director, another movie, they might not do that. They might just
Have it about Barbie.
more focused on the mother and kid, like playing with the Barbies.
I would have actually been okay with that. I thought there was a lot that could have been explored there, but I liked the Ken story too.
Yeah.
But they almost didn't even need. Like, they were just a plot device. They didn't even need them. And she like somehow
was a
saved the
lot,
day
like-
by not complaining. I guess that was me being a kin, but by sitting there and going, these are all the things that are wrong with women, and why like you have to be a this, but you have to be a that, and you have to, and that's what saved them. And I thought that was kind of weird, but maybe that's what it takes to be woke, is someone has to tell you something and you understand. I don't know. It felt like they just brainwashed
like
them the
snapping
other
out
way.
of the brainwash?
Yeah, it was like you just brainwashed them the other way. So
Yeah, that was it was one of those plot device things that you were talking about. It's just like we have to have something to
get us from A to B.
to
So-
snap these Barbies out of. Because how did they, become brainwashed in the first place
by Ken bringing the patriarchy? But I
like how did that what happened there? Like,
we don't know. He
were
just
they
came
just
back
so
with the knowledge.
so easily manipulated that they just were like, all right.
Well, because children are easily manipulated, and
yeah.
he brought knowledge, like he was the new god, and then everybody
That's
did what
even
he said.
like having that just that knowledge.
He became the horse god.
That mental power. That you have to, it's all about perception.
Yeah, and that's why
He was
he
Christopher
came back and
Columbus.
did it. Yeah, but she said that. Remember, like
Yeah.
this is like when so and so came and they couldn't defend against the germs.
He
That was
saw
funny.
the new world, and he created the vision of the new world.
But I thought that the end would be actually them awakening to those things when they were realizing they could do them, versus it being like America Ferrera's speech. You know what I mean? Like they're in a cooking situation and she can cook, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm this Barbie. Like, they would like give her the stuff like, you can do it. You know what I mean? And then they would just do it like, oh yeah, I'm me. But it was
They
more.
would've done that?
I thought that's what they were gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give her a beaker and be like, no, you know science. Like, oh, you're duh. Like, I was just brainwashed, but like, they totally went the opposite way. Like, and she just dekins them with more brainwashing. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Like a Wizard of Oz scenario where they get to the wizard and then gives the representation of all the traits that they're missing. Maybe that's a stretch. Could have been something like that.
Well, solid movie. Get a list. Go see it.
Yep.
Go see it. I did it now. Smash that like and subscribe button. Yeah, dude. And we out.
Be a can. Otherwise,
Ken is
will
me?
beat you off.
Yeah, beach. He said beach you off, just to let you know. Okay. Don't ban us. Beach you off.
Yeah. Battle on the beach.
That was pretty funny too, the whole beach thing. They leaned into
We're all
that.
gonna beat each other up.
Anyway,
Beach
we
each other.
definitely out
Stand
after
for the
that.
fruity-